All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Grit and Gratitude podcast. Today, we're going to kind of circle back around on what we talked about last week when we had KJ on. And I think we're going to really hit on acquaintances, not just in life, but in business, and how it correlates to everything we do, and what we all see when it comes to acquaintances versus friends in your personal and business life. So I'll kind of start off with the business side of things. When you become a business owner and you first start out, whether you're new to your business or your trade, or you're new to an area or the people that you're around, how you really learn over time who is your friend and who is an acquaintance. I think we can all agree that as we go through life, that changes, right? You know, acquaintances and friends, we all start to change and develop into different individuals, but we also develop different skills, and the people along our way develop different skills, and that changes the dynamic when it comes to business and friendships. So
first off, wise man once told me the first thing that you want to do, even you've been in business a heck of a lot longer than me, than Kenny, but as far as find your 3 a.m. friends, and then everybody else is an acquaintance. That's how I look at it. Find those guys that are kind of your ride or die, the dudes that will give you food off their plate, shirt off their back, and will help you bury a dead body. Take those guys, and those are your friends.
Your new shoes.
Yes, or pick out your new shoes. I'll give you guys a shout out for that one. So I needed them at a very, very important time in my life. And the first response when I texted them both was, where are we burying the body? Where are we going? I was like, guys, it's just to pick out a set of shoes. We're doing all right over here today. So, but yeah, I'd like to think of definitely as you've taught me throughout, the years we've known each other. It's going on. I've known Kenny for 5, somewhere in there, and you about a year after that. So about 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5, yeah.
So that's the biggest thing is like, and you're the one that brought the quote over as far as like a 3 a.m. friend, and going based off of that, then that's where you would consider everybody else an acquaintance. But on the business side of things, when it comes to money, everybody's your best friend.
That's right. And
everybody's your best friend.
It changes, and it's consistently changing because your circle and those people that whether you do business with them or they were your friend and you've done some work for them at their home,
right?
And your whole operation, not just as a business owner but as a friend and person in general, starts to change. And I'll follow this up with conversations that we have off camera quite often that I deal with on a daily or sometimes even an hourly basis. And I've had to learn the hard way that business and people that you meet, those necessarily aren't your friends. Those are your acquaintances.
Yes.
And when we start throwing money in there in business and how we change and how we evolve and have to operate our businesses based on, when you start out as a small mom and pop, or, you're just doing your side hustle and, you're just trying to get by and try to take care of people and build that reputation and build a good name for yourself. And I always say this, and you guys know it, you can say we sell products all you want. But at the end of the day in business, what sells and what wins long term is we sell an experience. You sell a service. You are selling yourself as an individual to your friends, to your family, and in business you're selling yourself to them. But unfortunately, when the narrative changes and you don't align with somebody, especially in business, and you change the rules of operation to better fit your business or help your business or protect your employees and protect your assets, your investments, and things like that. As soon as that changes, you really, really start to find out who your friends are.
Yep.
And I don't mean that like your buddies. I mean that just in business as your friends. Who really does support you?
Who values you?
Who values your service? Who you and I were talking about this worth versus value,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Worth versus value comes in many different forms, whether it's business, whether it's personal. You go help a buddy, move a couch on a Saturday, and you had a T-ball game for the kids or whatever, and then you call them because you need them to help move a fridge. oh man, sorry, dude, I got, my kid's got T-ball. Well, we can all attest to these things, and usually I'm just going to throw a percentage out there because it's just what I do. But I'm going to say 90% of the time, those people are going to let you down. And KJ on our last podcast made something that really drove home with me for this last week. The people that you thought were going to be there for you are usually the ones that aren't, and the ones that you thought weren't are. And man, I when I sit and think about, the last 5 years of my life, from personal and business, man, that stands strong. Right. That stands really, really strong. And I'm sure maybe you guys can, circle off this and give a little bit on how you feel about it.
On my aspect of it, is that I want to bring kind of an experience in for me. And it's funny because the wife and I were talking about it this last weekend, is that being in the military, being in the Marine Corps, I was fortunate enough, they talk about a brotherhood. You band together, a bunch of dudes, you don't lose contact when you get out of the military. So the biggest thing is, as I grew up throughout the military, I spent, my 4 years, I had a couple people come and go, throughout your life. They get stationed elsewhere. I got deployed. I come back, a whole new group of dudes that I'm in charge of. Don't know any of them. Don't know their names, where they're from, nothing. And there was one guy that was with me throughout pretty much boot camp, combat training, schoolhouse, and going to my first unit duty station. That is the guy that I thought I would never lose contact with. That is the guy that I thought was a friend, not an acquaintance. And then everybody else that I met throughout the time, oh, this is just an acquaintance. I know I'm going to lose contact with you, what have you. Well, now, the dude that pretty much I grew up with in the Marine Corps, haven't heard from him. Can't hear from him. He likes posts on Facebook. My wife says he does all this. I've reached out to him multiple times. He won't get back to me. And then so she messaged him and said, hey, Nick's been trying to get a hold of you. Well, he read the message and he never messaged back. And then you got these guys like my buddy in Buffalo. Hey, bro, Cowboys are coming to town. Tickets on me. Let's go. Get up here. Find a way to do it. Found a way to do it. And then my buddy Josh, unfortunately, rest in peace. He's not here anymore. He stopped when he got stationed from North Carolina to Camp Pendleton. He went out of his way, drove out of his way by himself in his little Toyota Corolla. And he stopped and he came to see me and my wife. And that was, I never would have guessed that from him.
Yeah.
And those are the guys that come out of nowhere. And that's the dude that I want to be around. Not the guy that's just, well, we did our 4 years. It was nice knowing you, on to the next kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's my aspect from a different point of view, as far as who's truly a friend, or who's truly a friend compared to who an acquaintance was.
It works either way. It doesn't matter if it's personal, business, friendship, relationship. It doesn't matter. It's universal. It's a universal understanding. I mean, we all probably have people that have been in our life that we genuinely maybe talk to 3 times a year. But when you talk to them, it's like you never lost touch.
Right, like a family.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And you're like, okay, those right there, those are like, I got a couple guys that way, I don't talk to them very often. They're busy, I'm busy. But when we do, it's like nothing, nothing skipped. And then I've had people in my life, they're like, man, you don't ever call me no more, blah, blah, blah. You too good for me, blah, blah. And absolutely not. But guess what? I'm not married to you, man.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? You ain't got nothing better to do. I got a family. I got businesses to run. If you feel that our friendship and our relationship is based on me making that phone call to you, whoa. That's not how it works. We're grown ass men.
Right.
I don't want to go hang out on every Friday and Saturday night, drink beer with you, and talk about, how horrible your life is, or, whatever. I'm out here doing real shit.
Right.
So I don't align with that.
Right.
And unfortunately, we're taught that is what a friendship is based on. My kid, he's 16 years old. Like I'm trying to teach him, but he's at that rare stage in life where I keep telling him, listen, dude, your friend group's going to change 1 billion times.
Yes.
You're a kid.
Yep.
You're growing into a young man. Your friends that you're friends with now, the likelihood of them being your friends when you're my age is 0. 0.001. Do I have people that I know that when I was his age that that I still see? Yeah, them are my acquaintances. Like, I can't call them dudes and be like, hey, at 2 in the morning and be like, hey, dude, I need your help. They're gonna be like, man, I ain't talked to you in forever. What the hell do you want?
You're not going to answer the phone.
But I
ain't
also
risking that for you, boy.
But I also have a few people in my life outside of my work friends, you know, my two best friends here, that I genuinely know that if I called them, they'd know something was up and they'd be like, okay. And that's two. There's two of them.
Right.
And they know who they are.
Right.
And outside of that, though, you know, hey, I'm acquaintance with everybody. I'm not gonna. The way I equate a friend is completely different. But everybody wants to be your friend when they want something.
Right.
Everybody
When you
wants
value.
Everybody wants to be a friend, right?
Yep.
You know, Kendrick, you can attest to this when it comes to, you know, your personal training business. When you first started, right, everybody's like, yeah, man. And then you're like, okay, well, I have to make money because gym equipment ain't free, my time ain't free, but most importantly, my knowledge isn't free. You're coming to me for a service. And what do? They think that you're their friend, and what happens?
You're going to get it for free because they know you. Or my personal favorite, they want to be like your poster client and like go through some major transformation and be the face of the company. And it's like, man, that's my company, you know? I don't want to be the face of it by any means, but I mean,
well, no, but
I
you
just
know, at
think
the
it's
end
funny.
of the day, you know as well as I do, when someone says that, I don't want to hear you say it. If you start your journey with me, whether it's in personal training, life, business, friendship, all that's going to happen is it all comes together when you start doing those things to be the poster child or, you know, the face of a company.
Yeah.
They're earning it. You know, they're earning it right there with you, and they're helping you build that brand. But when someone right off the rip, if they're like, hey, I want to be your poster child, what did they just put behind that? What they just put behind that was a expectation.
Yep.
Expectation. Well, when we start putting expectation on friendships, relationships, business relationships in life, as soon as you put an expectation on it, well, because I have known them, or I'm your family, or I've done business with you. Whoa, time out.
Right.
Me, I don't put expectation on anybody. People, you know, my own family, my own friends, I did that. And when I did, I saw what it yielded. You know, it yielded, you know, not so good results, but it was a learning curve. And it's something we all have to learn, that if we go into things with an expectation, we're going to be let down, right?
Right.
If we go into them without an expectation and just doing things wholeheartedly, you're still going to get let down when they break your heart, but it's not as bad because you didn't put expectation on it.
Yeah.
The issue, too, though, is when you put expectation, or even when you don't, they do. Because they know you. I've known you guys for 25 years. Yeah, I know you have, but I am a grown man now. I am not a young man. I am not a kid anymore. Or, you know, in your guys' case, probably more so with family and friends, where you remember when, you know, and then guessing, you know, we got Uncle Rico syndrome, high school freaking quarterback shit, you know, where they correlated it. Remember when we played football? And then it's like, hey, remember when we, you know, played tennis or whatever? We're buddies. You can take care of me, right?
Yeah.
Whoa, dude, this is 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know you.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody gets that mixed up in life, where it's like, take the expectation out of it, do things for the right reason, have the right intent. Because if you don't have the right intent in life with a friend or a business person, every single fucking time it's going to end in disaster. And that's a fact.
Well, think about it right now. Unfortunately, you know, the events that partook here recently where we're located is that now you have a bunch of these mom and pops, these one-man bands, these chucks in a truck, starting all these companies left and right to try to help those in need when a natural disaster strikes. So now it's one of those things about you talking about doing it with the right intent, is that, you know, these guys are going to go out, those who are, most people, hopefully you hope they have the right intent, but then you got a bunch of these guys that are going to start going out there now and just trying to take advantage of the system.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about this when it first happened, and I told you guys, I said, watch this. You guys ain't never seen this, but you're about to see dudes pop out of the woodwork, and what'd you see?
Dudes pop out of the woodwork.
And then you start going and you start searching on, you know, contractor registrations and things like that. Yes, people, I am that way. I am very, when it comes to that kind of shit, I am I go down a rabbit hole with that, because if someone's going to hold me accountable, I'm holding everybody else accountable. And I don't want to work with people that do shit like that. And unfortunately, the raw reality is when you have a natural disaster, hail, tornado like we had here.
What do they call that? Acts of God.
You know, acts of God, things like that. You get every Tom, Dick, and Harry that thinks that they can do. It doesn't matter if they build houses, clean houses, do windows. Next thing you know, they're everywhere. Everywhere. And that right there, we go back to intent. There was no intent behind that for them to help people. That was to take advantage of the people and the situation that they're in.
And the system.
Know, just like we have multiple home builders and contractors in this town. We got multiple roofing companies, siding companies, you name it. And the raw reality I see more, and this is not the first time.
No.
As soon as there's something like this, you know what we see, and you guys are going to learn it, because we haven't had one for a long time. So this is kind of the first thing that's hit since you guys have been working here and doing this. And now you're seeing that they come out of the woodwork, and now guess what? Now they can build homes. Now you got roofing companies that can build a house. Now you have garage door guys that think they can contract, doing everything. You name it, and it's because they're taking advantage of the situation, and their intent is shit. And that is when I get really frustrated with even people that we've worked with over the years. We got a good group of customer base. We really do.
Yep.
I am very happy with where we're at right now. We have a lot of really good people that have supported our business, supported me, supported all of us in the hard times and the good times. But we've also had people that don't. And for good reason. For good reason on them. For us, it's good reason, because good riddance. I wish you the best of luck. I know what we're doing here, and our intent's right.
Right.
And I don't want to align, and none of us want to align with businesses or people in our lives that don't have the right intent.
Right.
I use that word a lot. I use the word intent and accountability so much because I hold myself accountable for everything. My businesses, I make mistakes every day. My businesses make mistakes every day, and I own up to them, and I always will. It's costed us hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years. It's costed us our name sometimes with people because their intent wasn't aligned with us. Right. Mine was aligned. I did the right thing. They didn't. They chose not to. They chose not to dig in the trenches when the shit gets dirty and tough.
Right.
They're like, man, you know what? We're not supporting that. Screw you. On to the next. Good. Screw you. Because I'll see you on the opposite side.
Yep.
And it's the same way in life with people. And it's all good, because when you're coming up, whether it's in business or in life, right? Everybody's your cheerleader until what?
Till good stuff.
And it don't benefit them, right?
Yep.
They're your cheerleader. Man, freaking Kendrick's the best dude I know. He's your go-to workout guy. Blah, blah, blah. Nick, he's your go-to. He'll take care of you over a superior door. Blah, blah, blah. But as soon as you don't align with what they are, because things have changed on their end, whether it's personal or business, peace out. They're out.
Yeah, see you later.
Dude, another thing, just bringing that up, I've had a couple relationships that, I was talking to the wife. I've been venting to her a lot with it this last week. It's been great. Get a lot off my chest, but I was talking to her the other day, kind of on that same aspect of, I remember back when I was in the military, and that's what I bring up, because it's literally been the military and garage doors. I have nothing in between. So back when I was in the military, all these friends that I had all of a sudden came back. They're like, oh, how are you? How are you? How's life? How's this? And then as I have transitioned into normal civilization outside of the military, I haven't heard from any of them, not just the guys that I served with, but like some of my friends. It's like, I haven't talked to them. Dude, I haven't talked to you in 7 years. I've been out for 7 years. 7 years and it's like, but you were real quick to flaunt me around when I came back to town. We were going out having beers. Hey, dude, you bringing your uniform? Let's go out. Let's go do that. Yeah, and then it's back on the flip side now to where it's like I don't wear a uniform. I took pride in when I wore it. I take pride not wearing it, and it's one of those things to where they're just like, well, no, I'll catch up with you at a different time.
Yeah,
that's.
Yeah, because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit narrative, man. The intent's not there.
Right.
We've grown into a society where literally we're fucking selfish, man.
Yep.
And if it doesn't align with us, it's screw you. I don't need you in my life, or I don't want to do business with you, or I don't want to help you. And everybody is forgotten, what it's like when
We
life has gotten so good and has been so easy for the majority of us since, I would say 2010, 2011. And now it's not just business, it's life. Everybody's starting to see what happens when you get punched in the mouth, right?
Right.
We talk about grit and gratitude a lot because you have to.
Yeah.
Well, now guess what?
Yeah.
Grit is all you got right now. It's really, really hard to wake up and be grateful when we live in the economy that we're living in. We're going through what we're going through in life, in the world. You know, all this bullshit that you're fed through the news, through your social media feeds, because you look at the dumbest shit and go down these rabbit holes.
Right.
And we all do it. And it's really hard to be grateful because why? It's hard right now. You know, we say that quote, and I'm probably going to screw it up.
Tough times create strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create tough times. You have to raise warriors, not parasites.
I like that
Rashid.
one.
Hoorah.
But you know that saying, people don't understand how true that stands, because I'm telling you, it's been so good for so long that people forgot what it's like to struggle.
Yes.
You know, they forgot because it's been so simple and so easy, especially, you know, the not younger generation, but I would say the ages between, I'm going to say probably like 19 and 27, you know, about your age, Nick, where, you know, it's not so far away, but it's not so close that you know, that age gap hasn't had real things that have tested them or tested you in any way whatsoever outside of your going to high school and graduating high school and then going to this or going. Now it's like, dude, real problems. We got real shit going on in the world. We got real issues when it comes to the economy and money and business. And, you know, it affects your marriage. It affects everything. And getting back to that is going to help build, I think, some character back into people.
Yes.
It's going to, you know, it's going to weed out that this stands strong too. Survival of the fittest.
Yes.
And that's a fact. You know, I don't care who you are. If you want to survive, you're going to. And I heard this quote, and I love this quote, and I won't screw this one up. And I heard it from E.T., Eric Thomas. He's a speaker, right? And I know he's controversial. A lot of people don't like him, but I really like this quote. This quote is, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't mean in business. That means in life.
Everything you do.
When you want to be a good parent, a good father, a good husband, a good this, a good that, when you want that as bad as you want to breathe, it'll happen.
Absolutely.
And I believe that wholeheartedly. I don't care what background you come from. I don't care how you were raised. But if you don't have it that much, you don't believe in it that much,
Right.
then you are going to fail.
Right. Oh,
you
yeah.
already failed
100%.
before you started. Just like, you know, one of the sayings with grit and gratitude that we use, that's you know, burn the fucking ships. Burn them. You don't need them. You're stuck on an island. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Survive. What are you going to do? Because that's what you have to do in life, because no one's ever going to hand you a handout. I mean, the government has been, and they're about to again, but guess what? Everybody, so all you assholes that are listening know, take that money, and you know what's going to happen? Just like before, inflation and everything else. Because as soon as they give you money, or anybody gives you anything, because this preface this with everything,
Right.
when you're given something, you do not appreciate it.
No.
Period.
Why would you do that, right?
Period.
Yeah.
That's why when you
But they
see
got a nice
people
new TV.
that go and win the $50 million in the lottery, they're broke in 3 years. I'll tell you right now, you go take a guy that has $1,000 in a mission and in the drive to want to succeed, you'll see him a millionaire, maybe a billionaire, and he made that $1,000. Why? Because he earned that shit.
Right.
You don't earn nothing, you don't care. And that is the world that we're raised in. Right now, we're, you know, I don't know if some of you listeners, it's called the Stalin effect, you know, General Stalin. It's a breadcrumb. You know, he used to train some of it, and I might mess it up a little bit, but I'll get close. He trained a lot of the people that he would bring as colonels and things like that. This is how he would train people and get them to do exactly what he wanted. He'd take a chicken. He'd pluck all the feathers out of the chicken, feather by feather. This chicken would be cold, freezing, no feathers, wouldn't feed it for days, no water, no nothing. And right before that chicken was about to die, or, you know, right on its deathbed, and it couldn't move, it's dehydrated, whatever, he'd give it a little breadcrumb and a little bit of water. And he'd do that, and he'd keep doing that. And eventually what happened? That chicken started to follow him around like a pet dog. Why? Gave it a little hope, gave it a little breadcrumb. Just keep going. But guess what? That chicken would do and go wherever he needed it to go. And that's what we see in the world. We see that in life. We see it in business, but we're seeing it most importantly right now in everything around us. Social media, the ads we look at, you know, the stimulus money. Just give people a little hope, and they'll do whatever you want them to do. Well, that can't keep going on because we're starting to see the world in essentially crumble and fall apart with our relationships because of that. Guess what? Circling back around, when it's good, it's good. Everybody's like, yeah, I got enough. I don't got to do that because they got breadcrumb. Well, when those breadcrumbs go away because they do, that's when you die. And that's what we're going to start seeing, and that's what we're already seeing. Those relationships, those friendships, they fall apart because you're not giving them, you know, the breadcrumb that they want, you know, and then they're like, well, screw you. I'm not going to do anything for you because the intent's wrong. That's how I kind of circle back in. The intent wasn't there. But when you do something or stuff for people and you have the right intent, they'll follow you to the ends of the earth. If they believe in you and they believe in your mission or your friendship, they'll take a bullet for you. But that's gone away because, once again, it hasn't been hard. And now it's going to go back to being hard.
Surround yourself with those who you want to become.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, what do they say? The 5 people that you surround yourself around with essentially is, you know, what you become. I don't know if I believe that wholeheartedly because, you know, you can surround yourself around kind of different people, different perspectives, which is a good thing because you get to see a different view. But when it comes to, I think, morality and morals,
No, 100%.
You do become that. I think it's more of a moral thing than anything. It's not like
everybody has their own story, but more of the aspect of, you know, certain people had to go through certain different things to get to a certain point in their life. And if you all have the same vision, same goal, then I think that helps out a lot. That's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have, you know, personal excellence, you know, shout out Andy Frisella when you see this someday. You know, that's one of his biggest things, man, is personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Personal excellence. Everybody listen. Personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. And the reason why is strive every day to be better. Strive every day, whatever that means, physically, mentally, emotionally. Strive every day to be better as a person, human being. Because when you do that, you don't lose. You don't lose in life. You don't lose at anything. You're the winner. Everybody else, you'll look around them and you might feel, you know, you're alone. And, you know, Nick, you always say I always say, dude, it's a lonely ride being a business owner and doing this. But guess what? Top of that mountain has the best views.
Scariest views.
Or scariest views.
Top of the mountain has the scariest
views, you know, and I've learned that more and more in the last 2 years of losing a lot. I would say 90% of the people that I thought were beside me, that I believe that were going to ride or die with me, there ain't one of them here, man. I mean, outside of you guys, but there's not. And I'm okay with that. It took me a while to understand why. Well, I've outgrown them. We've outgrown them. We've outgrown that vision. Where you guys are growing with the vision. The people that I surround myself with now that are working, you know, with our businesses, that are in my life personally, they're aligning with the same values that I have. And that's just being the ultimate freaking rebellion, man. Personal freaking excellence. That's what we need, and that's what it should be. And the majority of people probably won't understand that, but the ones that do will get it, and it sticks, you know. And that's how it has to be. That's the only way that the world's going to get better, society is going to get better, and everything we do is going to get better. Is you have to be better. We're not perfect. Nobody ever asked for that, right? You know, we all have bad days. We all do things. We all make mistakes. We all make poor decisions. But if every day you can take away and be like, man, you know what? That was a win today. I did that. You know, I made sure that I did this or did that. I held that door or asked that guy how his day was. You know, I took care of myself, you know, the best of my abilities that day, mentally, emotionally, physically, you know, all those things. You know, that you can't go wrong, man.
Let me ask each one of you guys. I'll start with you, Kendrick. What brings you value? But the catch is, give me one word that brings you value. Not a word itself, but explain to me what brings you value or what you perceive as valuable in one word.
Oh, man.
Think about it.
From a business standpoint, or just like in general?
Could be anything.
I'd say all around. I already know mine. Mine popped in my head as soon as you said that.
Yeah. It's gonna sound weird, but what brings me value is love and friendship. So, love, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's good.
It sounds weird and
That doesn't
corny,
sound
but
weird at all. No.
I don't know where I'd be without my family.
I love you, dog.
Yeah, we love
you
you.
too.
For real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
So-
That's a really
For
good
real.
one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wade,
Accountability, straight up, no questions. Accountability.
camaraderie.
Okay. See, we all got a little different.
Yep.
You know.
Something brings us each, something different brings us value.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Now, what's value to you compared to worth? Is worth more, or is the value worth more?
Value.
Value all day,
Value.
Yeah.
Value versus worth, gents.
always. Yep. It's always going to be value, because if someone doesn't bring value to your life, they got to go.
Yeah.
They're not worth
They're not
the time.
worth the time.
They're not worth
and that is
the sweat,
that is,
tears, blood, and whatever you want to call
if
it.
they if,
That was
if-
good.
Yeah, dude. If they
was
don't
good.
bring you value, or somebody or what, they got to go.
Right.
Because all they're going to do is they're going to be, you guys hear me say it, freaking energy vampire, man. They're going to suck it out of you.
Bring
They're
it
going to
down with
suck everything out of you.
So yeah, so continuing on with it, I think it's a good topic to be on. I do. What lasts longer?
What lasts longer, value or worth?
Yeah.
Value, because
100%.
long term people are going to see the value in you. Not everybody, because we all talk about, value and
Oh, yeah.
who values or are
100%.
worth. But
Yep.
I will tell you, and I won't tell you, I'm going to ask you guys, and you'll probably agree with me. Would you say the majority of people value worth? They value value?
99% of society values worth over
Yep.
value.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's all about, and it's not even on a business side about it being a dollar amount.
No.
It's about the quick gains, not the value that'll take you to where you want to be. It's about the quick gains. Whose back can I jump on now to get me to the next point in my life? Oh, well, I'm done here. Okay, cool. Who am I going to jump on next? Not the value that guy or that gal brought you to that point.
Nope.
It's what's worth the next leap.
Yep. Yep.
And then when they get to where they're trying to go, they can't
Exactly.
stay there.
Yep.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because they got to move on to the next.
Right.
It's not sustainable. Worth is not sustainable long term. Here's
Right.
what worth is, everybody: short term gain, long term pain. That's all worth equates to, and that's fact. You can sit here and you can have the best product in the world, right? But if you have the shittiest customer service and the shitty experience and everything else, no one's buying your product.
No.
They don't give a flying fuck. They're going to go buy something cheaper.
Right.
But I can tell you right now, if you have the worst product, but you create the best value, the best experience, the best service,
Right.
guess what they're going to buy?
That
They're going to buy the piece of crap.
it's just like selling ice to an Eskimo.
Yep, exactly. But if you provide value and worth to somebody, you can't go wrong. It doesn't matter. And it's
Right.
as simple as service and experience, but there has to be, it can't be transactional. And that's, we haven't hit on that a whole lot, but, we live in a society of transactions.
Yeah, everything has to be equal.
It's
You
got to
did
be,
that for
hey,
me. I'm
what'd you
doing
do
it for you.
me? Now,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah. Right.
You guys hear me all the time with the worth and value. When I go and I use somebody for business, use somebody, I buy something, not who I provide business to, because I want to make this very clear to people. Who I use, I do not ask for a price. I do not. I go to them wholeheartedly, knowing that if they provide a service that I need, I just tell them to do it. I don't care what it costs, because I, in my heart, believe that person creates enough value in my life from a business standpoint or even a personal, that I don't need anything in return. The only return that I ask is honesty.
Right.
That's it. That's it. Honesty and accountability, and I'm good. I don't care. I've worked with people that have in the same trades, not garage doors, but same trades from us, having them do something for me, for my business or even personal. And I have multiple friends that own very similar businesses, if not the same, and I've used them all. And not one time have I ever been like, oh man, you know what? Bill over there can do it for, $30 cheaper. No, I just literally, hey, do it. I can shout this out. My brother takes care of me. He's the manager of a really good tire store here in town. I don't even do their door work. Why? We just don't.
Right.
There's a beef. It didn't work out. Whatever. But I still support my brother because my brother supports me. But I also do work at another tire store that supports Superior Door, and I use them both. And I use them very frequently, and I interchange, because I could call my brother and be like, "Hey, dude, so-and-so can do it cheaper. I don't play that game. I want to use people that use and support me and bring me value, and I don't care what that means and what that costs me, because value is where it's at, period. And it can't always be about the dollar amount. And if it is, I can tell you that no matter what I do in life, everybody's going to know me. I've never complained about a price, a bill, no nothing. I take it. I've been screwed a million times, people, by multiple businesses. And guess what? I pay it, and I know I learned a lesson. And that lesson is if they don't bring me value, get them out. So that's one that I could talk to everybody
I'll caveat
about.
Off of that.
I could talk for hours.
My
on
yard.
that.
You and I have talked about it
Oh,
1,000
man.
times. I can caveat off of that. I last year I was trying to get grass to grow in my yard because I got 2 dogs. One is massive, and they just tore my yard up. So I called and emailed because, well, maybe they're not in the office, they're running from a truck, whatever. About 5 different small business lawn companies. I didn't want to go corporate route. I wanted to go small business route. I work for a small business. I want to support small businesses. Not one got back to me. And then on a Saturday, I'm sitting there on the couch. Or no, I was driving home from the gym, and I seen this sweet wrap truck going down the road. And it was a lawn company. And I'm like, I'm going to just, off a whim, I'm going to call this guy. Called him. Dude came out same day. I'm like, no way. This is wild. Yeah. Yes, this is my dude.
I got my dude.
Yes. Comes out, and I looked at him, and I gave him the whole spiel. I played all my cards in front of him. If you want to take advantage of me, do it, dude, because I just need it done. I told him, hey, dude, called 4 or 5 different lawn companies. No one ever got back to me, showed up, gave me a quote. One of them swung by the front of the house because my wife seen him. Came to the front of the house, looked at my looked at my yard, was sitting there for a little bit, and then left, and never got back to me. And I was like, dude, just name your price. I just need it done. I don't even need a quote. Can you just get me on your schedule? Because I just need grass in my yard. I got 2 kids growing up. I can't be playing
In the mud.
Yeah, I can't. It's that, and the
kids might
dogs,
like it.
right? But lo and behold, keep long story short, to this day, after I reached out to the guy 2-3 times after he came over to give me a bid, I have not received a bid, and it's a year and a half later.
Yeah. How often do we hear that, though? Even in what we do?
Way
Every
too
day.
often. Yeah.
And, I'm not going to sit here and say that, our companies are perfect, because they're not. But I can tell you, our biggest hurdle majority of the time is worth versus value, and we get put in the worth category more than the value.
Right.
And I can tell you that if people value no phone calls back ever, not getting an estimate, for weeks and weeks and weeks, have to call 10, 11, 12, 13, 80 times, and they still want to go with that person because they're the lowest, guess what? See you later. We don't need you. And we hear that more and more, and it's like, I'm giving you an open checkbook, dude. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I trust you. I saw your truck. You came out same day. That's my dude. We know that value is going to cost me a little bit more.
Absolutely.
It's okay, though, because guess what? But then he punches you in the freaking face and doesn't even send you a bid.
Yeah.
Or
put me on the schedule.
I'll be honest. Yeah, dude.
I was like, I don't even need a bid, dude.
Just could have pulled his phone up and been like, you know what, dude? Yeah, I can give me 2 weeks.
It's gonna be $8,000. All right, cool, dude. I'll figure it out. I need it done.
Yeah. But
He's like, well, wait a minute, you agreed to that way too fast. It's going to be about 25 now.
No, but that goes to us, since we're in the service business. Sense of urgency wins.
Yes,
and that's a fact.
Yes,
but it also, guess what? The dichotomy to that is sense of urgency is the easiest way to get fucked.
Yes.
In service businesses, especially in garage doors and locksmith. And that's a fact, everybody. These two trades are the easiest to get scammed on, because you literally can be chucking a truck, have a federal tax ID overnight, have a contractor's registration in a week, and next thing you know, you got a dude coming to your house cracking you $2,000-$4,000 for a repair that would cost you $400 to $800, depending on who you use. Mm-hmm. And then when you have a warrantable cause, they don't come back, they don't call you back. But that circles around, people don't value that, and they'd rather. We see it on Google reviews, so everybody knows. All my competitors out there, some of you probably listen to the podcast, or you will. I do look at all your Google reviews. Why? Because I care. Because I want to see what everybody else is doing, so I know not to do it. and I know what's going on. And this is something I pay very attention to, and you should too from a business standpoint, because those customers are really going to show a very quick snapshot of what you're good at and what you're not good at, and where none of us are perfect. And I can tell you, our Google reviews prior to our account getting deleted a year ago, there's only one thing that we're all going to never be perfect at outside of money, and that's going to be communication. Communication is key. You know, all our Google reviews we have great technicians. We're good at what we do. We were prompt. We explained correctly. Our technicians were nice. All that, you know, we all have communication issues. And that should be, in my opinion, in a Google review, that should be non-existent.
Everybody's form of communication or the importance of communication is different as well.
Right, absolutely. You know, we got people that would rather call us.
Right.
We got people booking us online almost every day now.
And don't talk to anybody.
And you don't talk to anybody, which, hey, if that's your cup of tea, your cup of tea. You know, and these are all things that we're learning is communication is key. And none of us are perfect at it. I know that. We're going to get way better at it, and we're going to always work at it. But it really starts to show the holes in the chink in your armor from a business and a personal standpoint with those reviews. And yeah, there's fake ones out there, but you know, we know how to weed through those. But it'll give you a snapshot of what you're good at and what you really need to work on. That way, when you explain to people your worth versus value, that your value's there. You know, it's not going to work for everybody. It ain't going to work in new construction. It ain't going to work in commercial, but it will work on everything else. Because unfortunately, in the contracting world, the only thing that matters is worth. Your value doesn't mean shit, because there's another guy right behind you that's willing to do it for cheaper and go out of business in 5 years. So that's a whole nother topic that we could talk about.
Yeah.
When it comes to worth versus value. It's tough being in a blue collar business and in the contracting world, especially being a subcontractor, because we're subcontractors to contractors. So accountability falls on who? Us. Why?
The subs.
Because everybody else is a middleman, and the facilitation of communication a lot of the times, if contractors handed the phone number to every sub, whether it was commercial or residential, to that customer, and it's like, hey, you got a problem, reach out to them, right? Which is not realistic, because that's a contractor's job.
Right.
It's the contractor's job to facilitate, right, and be the best at it.
Yes.
But riddle me this, for everybody listening. Why is it always a subcontractor's fault when the contractor doesn't facilitate correctly? So we deal with this on a daily basis, because I could tell most people that I believe in my heart that the majority of businesses are good and their intent's always right. If they gave if they gave the phone number to the homeowner or the guy that was building, the investors that were building the building, and that investor called and was like, hey, why aren't my windows in, and why are 3 of them crooked, and blah, blah, blah. Well, here's why. The openings were framed incorrectly, and the reason why the windows aren't in is because the print has the wrong size on them, and yet didn't get back to you. No, absolutely it didn't. And then it starts the whole thing. That is the problem, is communication in everything is key, and it's the key to life. It's the key to your relationship. It's the key to your friendships. It's the key to everything.
Right.
And we have all these tools and all this stuff to work as a team and be good communicators.
Teamwork.
And we all fall short of it.
Yeah.
All of us do at times. But in the contracting world, it falls short because it's been good for so long, because I'm going to say it, it's been good for so long, everybody's like, I don't need to do that. Oh, I pissed that guy off. There's another guy right behind you. And it doesn't matter where you're at in the United States, if not the world, it ain't going to be like that forever.
Right.
Times have changed. You can literally get burned and go out of business within months, even if you've been in business for years. Why? Because all it takes is multiple bad experiences, and you're one click away or one conversation away from 50 people burning you. Why? Because you didn't provide a value. You know, and I know there's companies out there that can wipe Google reviews and all that shit. But guess what? If it's one thing that my dad has taught me, and it's tough to live by right now, I'll tell you that, but word of mouth is what keeps you in business and grows you. But in these times, when it gets down and dirty, it really shows who the true people are in your life and in your business.
Right.
Because you thought that you had all these people around you, all these contractors and all these friends and all that. And then you find out when you're not fitting their narrative, they're gone. And that word of mouth, then what?
Yeah.
Then what? So if you base your business off purely word of mouth like we do, and we have for 22 years, we do very little, if any, when it comes to paying for marketing. We pay for SEO. We have a social media manager that handles all of our content. That's to show who we are, what we do, and that we're real and we're local and we're here to take care of you. We're not just going to be some fly-by-night company. But now, when it comes to that, if you don't bring that same narrative as other people, they don't. It's not like it used to be. They don't care. So
right.
Word of mouth is a tough way to be in business now. I feel it's always going to be the right way and the only way. But you have to really pick and choose who you align with. And that's where we're going to see that change is who aligns with who.
Correct.
You're going to start seeing, you're going to almost, the best way to put it is I know you guys like to talk about the sports and sports bites and stuff. You guys, what team do you want to be on? Because what you're going to start seeing is everybody is going to be, what is it, a bandwagoner?
Yeah.
A bandwagoner.
Yeah.
You're about to see
right.
everybody being a bandwagoner where it wasn't like that before. You were like, man, that's my team, dude. Now you're going to start seeing bandwagons when it comes to your friendships and your business and in life, because if they don't align, they got to
right.
jump on someone's wagon. They don't want to be left out there alone.
Right.
And the ones that are left out there alone that are trying to do it the right way and continue down that path and believe in their value and believe in their core values and what they want to do and who they want to be and who they want to align with, those are the ones that stand the test of time. And that's a law. You can't change that. That's how the universe works.
Right. Well.
So we could talk about worth versus value in so many different ways, but I think we hit on a lot of the really important parts of it that I wanted to. I mean, we could sit here and talk about it from a personal and a business standpoint, day in and day out. But at the end of the day, I think that what I'd like to leave everybody with, most importantly on this podcast, is because it's been something that's been weighing on me, is that worth versus value and that accountability meter is more important now in life to yourself, to the people around you than it ever has been, and to keep your circle tight. Keep it really tight. Because if you don't, you're going to get burned. And that's just how it works. You got to make sure who you're surrounded with are the right people, and those right people are supporting you at all costs. If they're not bringing you value, everybody, they got to go. Friends, family, it doesn't matter. I mean, I know people that have cut their parents off because they didn't bring value.
Yep.
And I know that's sad, but it's not sad. It is, but it isn't, because if someone holds you back, do you want to, like, what? I'm just going to throw this at you, Kenny. If you love your personal training and your fitness and all this, right?
Yeah.
And if your parents, hypothetically were telling you know what, Kenny, quit chasing that dumb little dream of yours, that little side hustle. You ain't ever going to make no money at it, blah, blah, blah. Let me ask you, what would you, and they wholeheartedly told you this for, let's say, a year, 2 years, even though you're not making any money, you still enjoy it, right? You value it, right? Mm-hmm. It has value to your life. And they told you quit doing that, blah, blah, blah. How would that make you feel?
That's a good point. That would piss me off.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it wouldn't even make it. It'd be like one day and it'd be like losing my number. So,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's where people need to really realize, and it's not just your fitness. It's not just your business. Mm-hmm. It's in everything that you do, man. Like, if you believe and love something and you have these values and these core things within inside you as a human being that you believe in, and people don't support that, you're going to cut them off if you want it bad enough. And it's sad and it hurts. I've had to cut people off in my life that I never thought I'd have to.
Yeah.
But I had to, because it was draining me. It was draining me as a person, as a business owner, as a friend, as a husband, as a father, all these things. And people are like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Well, you know what's wrong with me? I gotta go. You gotta go. I gotta move on from this. Cause if I don't, I'm going to wake up at 50 years old and I'm going to look back and be like, damn, I fucked up. I allowed everybody else to dictate my belief in what I wanted, So yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow, but I do know people that literally genuinely have cut, their parents off, based on, hey, I want to chase my dream, man. I want to chase, and it doesn't matter. How many times people have told probably you, hey, you work too much, or you do this, or why are you doing that? Don't worry about me. I'm doing me. Just support me. You either support me or you don't, and that's okay. But when you don't, I'm going to cut you. I'm going to cut you. You're off the team.
Yeah. No, I agree.
One more thing, and I know he don't listen to it, but maybe someday he will. Paul Passeur, I worked for Ford. He was my service manager, and I worked for Ford. I was like 17 as a lube tech, 18, 19. I'll never forget this. I sat in his office, and I was young. I was probably 18, maybe 19. And we were talking about techs and this and that. And he goes, Wade, there's one thing that I've learned in this business, and he would have been in the business at the time, probably almost 30 years. And that's why I'll never forget this quote. If you can't change your team, change your team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And people, and that doesn't matter what it is. If you can't change your team, change your team. If you have your core values and what you believe in, then you got to make sure the people around you align with that.
Absolutely.
Customers, friends, relationships. I mean, it goes down all the way, man, to your kids.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds. So, you got to believe in what you believe in. You would never give up your gym. Nick, you would never give up your passion for sports.
No.
That's a non-negotiable in your life. And when people don't understand that, hey, this is a boundary, don't cross that boundary. If you cross that boundary, you got to go.
Right.
And I think everybody that's going to listen to the podcast, you really need to probably check and really reevaluate what your boundaries are, and think long and hard about a non-negotiable in your life that is a make or break you. That it's like, if I don't have this, or if this is what I believe in, and there's people in your life that don't support it, the quickest way to keep propelling forward in whatever you do, business, fitness, your job, your friendships, cut them. Quit wasting time. Cut them. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do, the best thing you'll ever do.
The biggest thing I want to leave the viewers with is, we've kind of touched on it before in the past, off camera, of course, is that if everybody sits there and just thinks about it, one of the biggest things, obviously, accountability and worth versus value is what you can grab out of this episode, I would say.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that I want everybody to sit back, and I try to tell my employees this as well, our employees, I guess, if you will, is that at the end of the day, when you're about to go 6 feet deep, all the people in your life, are they going to remember you because of the value you brought to their life, or the numbers in your bank account? What are they going to remember you by?
They're going to remember the value you brought to their life.
The value.
Yeah.
So when you want to think about value versus worth, think about that. All you're ever going to be remembered for is for your value, not your worth to the world.
Nope. Because people say it, you can't take your money with you when you die. Well, guess what?
I say that all the time.
Because it's a fact.
Yeah.
And there's people that are like, well, you got to, there's people, I got to spend it. I got to do that. Absolutely, you do. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But the value that you bring people in your life, that's what matters. And if 100%. Those people don't see the value in you, then they got to go.
Gotta go.
That's why, this podcast, worth versus value, that's going to be what this one's all about, is definitely something that people should really, really, really start to think about and realign yourself. I'm going to talk directly to the people that listen to the podcast, our viewers. Realign yourself with what you truly believe in, and just remember that feeling when it's good. But most importantly, remember that feeling when it's really fucking bad, and how bad you still want it. Because if you do that, you can't fail. You won't fail in life. You won't fail in anything you do. Just remember that feeling. that shitty feeling, because it'll keep you from going back to that feeling consistently over and over. And you'll start to make those slow and steady changes where you will genuinely start to manifest those things, those changes and those beliefs in yourself and the people around you, the value you even bring to yourself. Just believe it. You're going to have your days where you're down on yourself and you think that you suck and it's never going to work and that you're never going to have financial security, or you can't do this. But the more energy you put into that, thinking about that bad shit and not the good shit, it's just going to suck you. It's going to suck the life out of you. And I'm a person that, like I said, accountability is big for me. I'm not the perfect person. I dwell on bad shit too, but I can tell you the days that I don't, the days that I focus on what's around me and what I have to be grateful for, those are the days that I go home feeling fulfilled and good. And I'm like, let's go. Yeah. But never forget the horrible stuff. Never forget the tough shit. So with that being said, that's how I'm going to close us out, other than Nick Kendrick. What's our sports bite?
Sports bite.
Sports bite.
Sports bite.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Is that the basketball player from Iowa?
Yeah, dude. She's
been rocking it.
Yeah, she is a smoke show in the WNBA.
She's already playing.
Yeah, dude. I know. I was talking about it last night. Is that the quick turnaround from like the women's March Madness tournament to the preseason for the professional gals in the WNBA, and it's Caitlin Clark's killing it. She is killing it, and she's running into some rough issues with the reporters as well. Feel bad for her. She's only 22, 23. And she had some reporter. So Caitlin Clark thing is at the end of every game, she goes like this to her parents in the stand. Well, a reporter was like, well, you can do that to me every day after every game. Something like that. Yeah. Some weird shit. Yeah. Seriously, crazy. So feel bad for her on that aspect. And then another reporter just the other day. So for those that don't know, which is probably you, and I don't know if you would know, is that her boyfriend, who she's been together with for over a year now, actually works for the Indiana Pacers. So they're both in Indiana. She plays for the Fever, and then he works for the Pacers. And he started trying to get all up in her personal life, asking if the boo thing was going to start coming to her games and this, that, the other. And it puts her in a very uncomfortable situation. She's a young woman.
What is she, 22?
22. She's like 22, somewhere in there, 23 maybe. But yeah, so rough start for the reporters for her out there in Indiana, but great start for her showing on the court. Now to the men's. How about them T-Wolves?
Yeah, most underrated team, I think.
How about them T-Wolves? I'm a Thunder fan, though. I'm taking Thunder all the way. Thunder are going to win the NBA championship, youngest team in the NBA as well. So, but Timberwolves are up 2-0 now on the former champion Denver Nuggets. So
they got their next two games at home.
And they got their next two games at home. They won 2 road games in Denver against the Nuggets. So that'll be a good one. Who you got in that? Who you got in that series? You taking the T-Wolves, or you think Nuggets going to make a comeback?
T-Wolves.
I'll take the T-Wolves as well. Wade, who do you have?
I'm going to go with the Wizards.
The Wizards, yes.
Or I'm always going to go back to it. Don't ask me why. It's a childhood memory of mine, but damn it, Muggsy Bogues on the Charlotte Hornets. I'm always going to bring that in because that's about the only thing I know. And I used to have a pullover jacket of the Hornets, so that's probably why. And I wanted it so bad, and it took like 3 months for my mom to get it for me because we had it on layaway. And when I got it, man, I thought I was so damn cool. But I just remember Muggsy Bogues. He's like, what was he, like 5-something and could dunk?
Yeah.
I mean, this
He's a
dude
little
just
guy.
like,
yes.
He was like jumping off a springboard. And I do remember that.
Yeah.
You know, and like, that's
crazy.
That's what I remember from like basketball.
Crazy.
That's
yeah.
what I remember. But yeah, Muggsy Bogues, if you're out there, you know, we miss you.
Who we taking in the East? I don't think anybody is going to touch the Celtics. Not a chance. I don't think anybody. The Celtics could be injured. They could have Jaylen Brown on the court.
Leprechaun?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a leprechaun. Yeah. And just Jaylen Brown on the court, and I still think they beat their opponents by 10 plus. Yeah. It's crazy.
I'm surprised that they don't have a Lucky Charm sponsor.
Ooh.
How can you be the Celtics as
Why can't it be called
with no Lucky Charm sponsor? So who even makes Lucky Charms anymore?
It's General Mills.
Yeah, well, shout out General Mills. You should probably get on that.
My uncle used to be a bigwig for them up in Minneapolis.
I mean, get out of here. See, so everybody, just so you know, that's what I equate things to. You just got a glimpse of my brain was Celtics, Leprechauns, Lucky Charms.
Should we talk about the Kentucky Derby?
Oh, dude, you know what?
What?
We can, because
There's a little horse background here.
Yep,
Yeah.
My wife, she loves the horse stuff, and she bet like 75, or no, I don't know what it was. It might not have been any money, and she won $75. She called the winner. What was his something Dan? What was his name?
I have no idea, but he was an underdog.
And the only reason why she picked him was because her brother's name is Dan. And
it's a good strategy.
So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, if we would have put down like 10 or 20 grand if we had it and betted on it, whew,
you wouldn't bet on Dan.
I know, dude, but at the end of the day, it's just like my March Madness bracket, dude. Though. If we would have put money in, we could have won big, but we didn't. So.
Yeah, I'm not a bettor. I mean, I've never been a gambler. Like,
yeah,
I don't.
Sports betting's addicting though for a guy that absolutely loves sports.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I can't. I'm not a gambler. I mean, I know there's some of you out there that probably like to hit them slot machines. Shout out, Mom. I know you like to hit those pennies up. But I don't know the allurement to gambling. I've never really have. I mean, I listened to Dana White and his addiction to playing. Is it blackjack? I think it's blackjack.
Yep.
And I'm just like, dude, like I don't get. I mean, when you're Dana White, you can. I mean, you got unlimited money, but there's people that are going there and they're blowing their whole paycheck on it, and it's like I don't understand that. I won't even play a freaking pickles, man.
Dude,
like
I went to a casino once in my life. Once in my entire life so far, I've been to a casino once. I was on my way up to Minneapolis for Cowboys-Vikings game. Got a $100 bill. Took it out of the ATM. Never been to a casino, so I didn't know what slots to go play. I didn't know what games to go play. I didn't know what I could do. So the first game I see in front of me, roulette. I lost all $100 on a game of roulette in 5 minutes. I looked at my boy that I was riding with. I was like, yeah, I'm tapped out.
I'll be at the buffet.
I don't understand the allurement to gambling. I mean, our social media manager, he's got some buddies that like to hit them slots up,
Well, the allurement is the potential of big winnings.
What about poker, though? Poker is gambling, but poker is intense.
Yes, poker is something that I think I couldn't do it because I can't sit down, first of all, for longer than about 5 minutes. So, but I could see some allurement in that because it's fun, it's engaging. And I mean, I played blackjack. I've been to the casino and played some blackjack not knowing what I was doing.
Right.
And I mean, it's more of a drinking sport than
Absolutely.
anything.
Yep.
It's really fast paced. And but then you're right. I don't see the allurement in winning because I won some money and then I just left it all at the table.
Yeah.
It's
just like Keno. Keno's a big thing here.
Yeah.
Keno's a big thing here.
Yeah. People.
Don't you play Keno?
I used to, but not a lot. It would be rarely. And if I did,
And then if you win the money, you just leave it for the waitress, bartender,
I can tell
whoever.
you right now that I know 2 times for sure, for facts, that anytime I played it was because other people were doing it. And I was like, you pick a number and I'm going to pick 2 numbers. And if I hit, I'm going to give you all the money.
Right.
I did this multiple times, but 2 times I won over $1,000. And I left it, and they shit themselves. They were like, I'm like, gambling to me, that's why I don't understand.
Worth versus value.
Yeah.
Worth versus value.
Like literally worth versus value. Like I'm like, I played $40. I won $1,000.
Yep.
I did it one night. This was years ago. A good friend of my cousin's. And he was having a really rough night. A friend had passed. He didn't want to be at work, but he had to be there. And, I'm like, dude, it's the end of the night. I think I spent like $100. And I was like, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, if you pick a number, I pick a number, and then you pick a number. We all 3 picked a number. And I said, if it hits, I'm like, I'll give you all the money. He goes, if this hits, it's going to be like $800, right? And I said, yeah, if I hit, I'll give it to you. And he's looking at me like, you're full of crap, right? Dude, it fucking hits. And I was like, all right, dude, it's like, I don't know, it's like 10 o'clock. I was like, all right, I'm going home. I was like, here you go. And he looks at me and he's like, you're serious? I go, yeah, I was serious. I'm like, here's the money, dude. Like, I told you I was going to give it to you. And the dude just starts crying, like he had a rough day. I didn't know that, and then you don't know, you never know who you're going to affect either. But like when it comes to that, I'm like, I don't see value in it. Like people that play the Powerball, shout out to everybody I know you play the Powerball, including, I bet everybody I know does. I do not.
I don't.
People will be like, hey, no, I don't play the Powerball. I don't even know ever what the Powerball is because I know the way I'm wired, and this is so everybody understands. I'm the type of person that if I'm given something, if I'm handed it, guess what? I don't value it.
Right.
I didn't work for it. I know that's the way I'm wired. I know that I need to earn my way, and anything I do, I have to earn it. Because if I don't, I'm just wired that way. And I'm okay and understand that. That's why I don't do those things. I don't want the easy way. I want the hardest way possible. Because if you give me the easy way, 9 times out of 10, guess what? I'm not going to value that shit.
No, so I want to think about that. Pass it to Kendrick probably for his last thoughts. I was just thinking about this once again, worth versus value, tying it back in, but also what you just said about your buddy's cousin or what have you. Is that so? I used to have a man bun, right? And so I wanted to go get it cut off.
Donut.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I like that.
Shout out to the banker for that one. But I decided I wanted to go get it cut off, and I am very, very used to paying way too much money for a haircut. Okay, you guys know where I go, so.
I used to go there before my hair started falling out.
Yes. So pay way too much money for a haircut. Well, it's by appointment, this, that, the other. I'm like, dude, I got to get this cut off now. So I hit my boss up. I'm like, hey, dude, I got to go get a haircut. All right, see ya. Went and got a haircut. Okay. It was $20. First off, I didn't ask for a military discount, but the lady knew that I was prior military. She just, because of the aura I give off, and I got a tattoo. And so she goes, and plus I'm going to throw a military discount on there. I was like, no, you don't. She goes, I'll just throw the military discount on there. Took $1 off. Great. She goes, your total's $20. Without hesitation. It was the best haircut experience I've ever had. Me and this gal chopped it up the whole time. She was telling me funny stories about her husband growing out a little man bun. He got a little guy, looks like a turd right there. And without instant, I put out like 40 or $45, and I just handed it to her. It's like, pay for the haircut, you keep the rest. I gave her 100% tip. Yeah. And she just looked at me. I thought she was going to start crying. It's like, you brought value to me today. You made my day better. It's a $20 bill. I would have went and blown it somewhere else.
Right.
But clearly it meant a lot more to you because you look like you were about to damn cry.
Right. Absolutely. Because you don't know. You don't know who you're affecting.
Right.
And that goes, like you said, that worth versus value.
Yeah. Doesn't
always mean the most expensive is. You know what? I got a good one.
Dude, ready? We can go on forever. This is such a great topic.
This is going to be a good one. I heard, God dang, who was it? I think it was Chris. I think it's Chris Williamson. It's a podcast, great podcast, and he heard it from. Man, I can't remember who it was, but he said it just like this: just because something just because something is hard to obtain doesn't mean that it brings you value. Just like because something is hard doesn't mean that it brings it value. So you could preface that just because it's expensive doesn't mean that it brings you value too. You know, it comes in so many different things. You know, there's so much that intertwines in it, but you know, we live in a world of worth. So, I mean, kind of to close things out, I want everybody to kind of go and think about that worth versus value for you and really sit, ponder it, think about it, and really try to figure out what's value, what's worth, and what do you pick? What do you choose? And I hope that some of the people that are listening get value from this podcast, because that is why we created it. This is to bring value to everybody, a different perspective in business and in life. I know there's a million other podcasts out there, but what I want to do from a personal standpoint and why I started this kind of project was it brings me value, this podcast, because it gives me an outlet to vent. It gives me an outlet to give people a perspective or a different perspective. It gives me an outlet to help people not make the same mistakes that maybe I've made or that you've made, and to learn together and just to create value for people. So I want to close the podcast out with that. And I think Kendrick's got a little shout out here he wants to
shout out time. Yeah. So with the Grit and Gratitude, ISSA is a personal training school that I obtained all my certifications from. Pretty much it takes 4 months to get a certification. Its study is whenever you want, really. And you take tests throughout the week, and then you take a huge final at the end. So it's helped me, benefited me, and done everything for me on my side to learn the aspects of the gym better. And I can't appreciate them any more than I already do. So I'm trying to spread the word out on that. So call Coach Mimi. She'll get you taken care of.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Mimi.
Shout
out.
Close
it out. See you next week.